What's up people, you're watching Cartelltv and I'm Jenny. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. The 2021 Hyundai Kona is a facelift. So rather than being a new model, it now includes subtle changes to design and functionality, a few new tech perks, and maybe some engine upgrades. It's basically keeping a model relevant without having to make a whole new car. Facelifts are good. In fact, if you can, try to buy facelifts. In most cases, they also iron out any issues that were spotted in the first few years of the public abuse of a model. Of course, in some cases, they can add new tech, which can turn out to be an issue, but that's another story. Anyway, back to this 2021 Kona facelift. And it appears Hyundai broke the rules again. Yes, this is a facelift, but it brings a whole lot of new stuff. It's not a whole new model, but it is much closer to it than a regular facelift. The facelifted Kona also has a pretty wide price bracket, ranging from just under $27,000 to just over $42,000. There are 6 trim levels, currently 2 engines, front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, CVT or dual clutch. You get it, there is a lot to choose from. The version I have here is the second highest trim, called N-Line. It's just one step below the N-Line Premium, and it packs 1.6-litre turbo direct injection engine, whose power is sent to all 4 wheels on demand. This version I have here should be pretty popular with buyers, so let's have a look at it. In terms of design, the new Kona is a bit less in your face than before, but still sporting a similar theme. The Kona is already very popular in Australia. However, I think they toned it down a bit to try and broaden the market. The thin DRL line at the top is now even sleeker, and these 3-part thin intakes add to the look. The grille is now a lot narrower on this model in favour of a more pronounced front bumper that also sports a thin lip spoiler. The rear is sporty with details that look like the Kona is more powerful than it actually is. All in all, the 2021 Kona is a modern sporty vehicle, and it fits well in its target market. There are currently 2 engines to choose from. The lesser one is a 2-litre Atkinson cycle petrol with dual variable valve timing and is paired with a CVT, all combined for the sake of improved efficiency and performance, at least in theory. In reality, it produces 110 kilowatts and 180 newton meters of torque from 4,500 revs. Combined fuel assumption is very nice at 6.2 litres per 100 kilometres. And the CVT is actually a nice upgrade for that engine. It gets to more efficient revs more quickly and also stays there longer. It's actually quite similar to the 2-litre Seltos that we reviewed. The other engine choice is a 1.6-litre with direct injection. The help of the turbo gives more torque, 265 newton meters, provides it lower in the rev range from 1600 to 4500 and delivers 146 kilowatts of power. Moreover, this engine is paired with a 7-speed dual clutch. This turbo sips fuel at 6.7 litres per 100 kilometres combined. So both transmissions have been changed and for the better. And I must say that in the past, the 1.6-litre turbo was an easy choice over the 2-litre. But now with those transmission upgrades, it's actually much more of an equal choice, and for different reasons. If you want the turbo engine and the dual clutch, you have to go for this N-Line or the N-Line Premium above it. Now, although both engine transmission combos are great, I'm still really happy that I have this one. The naturally aspirated one is simply not even close to this level of performance or feel, and the difference in numbers doesn't even begin to explain it. The wide torque curve of the turbo unit delivers the push with ease from almost any revs. Also paired with a dual clutch automatic means it gets to the perfect rev range fast in virtually any condition. You have the usual drive modes, Eco, Smart, Sport and Comfort. I tested all of them and the Sport mode gives you a noticeable kick in performance. Also, versions with this engine get active on demand 4-wheel drive with 50/50 front and rear lock mode, should you need it. Lastly, the 2-litre versions get the torsion beam rear axle, while the 1.6 gets multi-link rear suspension. All of this translates to a very different driving experience depending on your version of choice. And while the 2-litre is definitely better than it was, so is the 1.6. So it depends on your priorities what's going to be the better option. It's simply more powerful, generally feels effortless. It's a lot better in curves, and the dual clutch feels a lot better than the CVT. So the still good choice 2-litre is available even in the high trim Highlander, which is better equipped than the N-Line I have here and is pretty close to the top trim N-Line Premium. So again, I'll summarize it by saying that the 2-litre is better than it was. The CVT now makes it a smoother drive. It's more efficient than it was and remains a good choice. But this 1.6-litre turbo is the most responsive, engaging, and therefore fun option to drive in every way.
In terms of handling and comfort, I already mentioned the rear suspension setup, and it makes a world of difference.
It's now a lot more composed in corners and also a lot better over bumps.
The changes on the inside include a new 10.25-inch screen for all but the lowest two trim levels. And those get an 8-inch screen, which comes with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto.
This one is a big step up in terms of looks and responsiveness, although it only has cable, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay.
As we've mentioned previously, the reason for this is that the tech companies are still arguing with Hyundai, whose sat-nav gets to be used by default.
That affects the wireless tech, so for now you can only mirror your phone to the big screen with a cable. I know, it's crazy.
But the new infotainment system seems to have had a software update, and all the apps display so much better now.
And I wanted to mention the sound system. It's one of those things that enhances your everyday driving experience. It's got Harman and Kardon speakers in this one, and it's really good. And I've tested it out with my Beats.
The instrument cluster in this trim is a standard one with an additional 4.2-inch display. The Highlander and the N-Line Premium get that awesome 10.25-inch cluster. It truly is a huge step up, and a thing you look at every day. So it's a nice addition, even though not really a mandatory one.
In terms of styling, N-Line and N-Line Premium get some dedicated perks, like this special steering wheel, gear knob, and special seats.
In terms of materials, this trim is a bit of a mixed bag.
While there are some nicer materials in some places, like namely the dash, there are still those small car hard plastics in a lot of places.
The very top trim costs more than $42,000, and they could have thrown some better materials for those few surfaces in that version.
The front is pretty spacious for a car of this size. There are no intrusive, unnecessary parts like in the CHR. And also the central console is nice and low, which improves maneuverability.
There are nice storage spaces, wireless charger, bin under the armrest, door pockets, glove box, this tray in the front of the armrest, and similar.
In the rear, there are still no rear air vents, which in a car of this size is normal.
But this is an expensive vehicle, top trim, very popular, and this is Australia.
You know, it does get hot here for about half a year. But other than that gripe, it's pretty good back here.
You get 2 sets of ISOFIX points, this armrest with the common amenities, and a pretty nice amount of space, having in mind the dimensions.
Legroom and headroom are okay for normal size adults. At least my legs aren't pushed against the front seat. Also, it's not as dark as it can be in other cars of this category. I would have loved a lighter roof though. It would just have been brighter and really added to that sporty feel.
I think they hit the sweet spot between the size of the car and the interior space. You can drive adults in the back, and the Kona is still small and easy to maneuver and park. Moving a few centimeters in either direction would not be as good a balance.
There is also a USB charging point here. One feature that I don't have that the Premium and the Highlander do is heated rear seats.
The boot has the capacity of 374 litres or 1156 litres, with the second row dropped and the load lip is minimal, which makes loading stuff easier.
The Kona also has a space-saver spare wheel under the floor.
Other than that, the Kona is pretty good. Just some of the things you get include electronic parking brake with auto hold, rain sensors, ABS, EBD, downhill brake control, hill start assist, traction control, vehicle stability management, blind spot collision avoidance assist, forward collision avoidance with car, pedestrian and cyclist detection, high beam assist, lane follow and lane keep assist, rear cross traffic collision avoidance, smart cruise control with stop and go, and rear view camera. Many of these features are standard across the range.
So what's the verdict? Well, Kona is already very popular here, and for a good reason.
This update makes it only better, adds a lot of the latest tech the company offers in the top trim, and it also brings changes in looks.
Yes, it does miss out on a few features here and there, but so do most other cars in this class. And yes, it can get very expensive if you go for the top model.
However, with so many options to choose from and such a different driving feel, there's bound to be a Kona for anyone looking into buying such a car.
It's just a matter of finding the perfect balance between your desires and cost. And with so many options, it really shouldn't be a problem. Thanks again for watching CarTell.tv. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button. So, the Kona. Which engine choice would be yours? Would you go for the 1.6 or the 2-litre? Leave your answers in the comments below. We always love to read them. And we'll see you next review. Peace.